Hey everyone, David here, back again to review another episode of S.H.I.E.L.D, and this time it is for the episode entitled Melinda. That's right, this episode is all about Coulson's car. No, I'm kidding. Its car's name is actually Lola. But Melinda is obviously referring to Melinda May. And this episode digs deep into the character and explains why she's often referred to as the Cavalry, and why she hates being called that. And that's awesome because Melinda, Agent May, has become a bit of a favorite amongst the show, so it's cool that they're dedicating most of the episode to her, because unlike a show like Better Call Saul, which decided to dedicate an entire episode, like 95% of an episode, to a supporting character that is cool and everybody likes, so they're like, okay, we're gonna actually delve deep into the mind of this character and see what made him tick, being that that's a prequel show. This episode did that for the most part, but ever so often we would jump to either Sky's story, which was very much well appreciated by me, but then also some moments of present-day May investigating into what Coulson is up to since his escape, and why it is that he's keeping certain things on the wraps that even has her feeling like, what exactly is Coulson up to, and should I be trusting him because I'm a little, and by me, I mean her, she's saying, I'm a little worried about this. And I feel like that stuff could have been saved for another episode. It was the only thing that I actually did not like about this episode, is that some of the present-day May stuff could have been saved for at least the next episode, because I felt like it was just a little daunting to have a flashback with past May from 7 years ago, and then in the next scene we have present-day May looking through files. And it's weird because these flashbacks were doing such a terrific job at selling that backstory to Melinda May. We have a segment at the beginning that brings back Andrew, her ex-husband, played by Blair Underwood, who I was really glad to see back in the form of a flashback, because in that one episode where he did guest appear, I was hoping that he would be brought back because he was a cool character, and they actually did that in this episode. And we see more of that smiling May that we saw hints of in that episode where he guest starred in. That moment where Fitz and Simmons were gossiping about, ooh, that, Melinda's actually smiling and laughing. We see even more of that at the beginning, and the type of person that she used to be. But of course we know that something tragic is going to happen, and that event will transform May into the stone-faced, tough but fair agent that we know her by for the remainder of the series. And for the most part, the story was doing really good, but it wasn't until that gut punch at the end, where after finding the woman that seemed to be controlling everybody with her mind, who, I gotta be honest, was also another one of the minor weak points about this episode. That actress was not a very good actress. But anyways, there's a twist that reveals that it wasn't her who was controlling these people, it was this little girl who May was trying to save. And at the beginning, it looked like May was trying to get a family started of her own, so this hit very, very close to home with her. And she had to pull a Walking Dead on her, practically, to stop her. And this is the turning point for May, and that scene where she breaks down in the ambulance was very, very emotional and really well acted by Ming-Na Wen. I mean, I hardly do this. I hardly go on Twitter and try to talk to celebrities, because most of the time I have so many followers that they're really going to notice anybody like me. But I actually feel enticed to want to go on Twitter, because she has a Twitter and I follow her, and tweet at her, good job on your performance in tonight's episode, because she was amazing. It was also kind of neat that this backstory had a few connections. One was to the Avengers Initiative that is not only mentioned at the beginning of this episode by Coulson, but if you notice, the little subtitle said 7 years ago. Today is 2015. What movie came out almost exactly 7 years ago that started it all? Iron Man. I'm here to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative, and that initiative is foreshadowed by Coulson at the beginning of this episode. And there was also a connection to Sky's mother, because apparently this little girl that was controlling people was obviously a gifted individual, but however, she was Sky's mother's responsibility, and this tied everything together very well. Speaking of which, Sky's mother reveals herself to her after a couple of rather neat training sessions. And it was an emotional beat that the episode struck. I do, however, preferably wished that they could have saved this up for at least one more episode. Not like half a dozen episodes like other shows do, where they beat around the bush and they wait and they wait and they wait until a mid-season finale or a season finale comes around and say, okay, this is what we're going to use for the season finale. And you're kind of like, oh man, you guys dragged this on too much to the point where I didn't even care anymore. Here, again, keeping with the pacing, and I know I sound like a broken record, but I love how they took notes from last season and took them and applied them to the second season by making things move much more quickly. And we see that once again here by having Sky's mother reveal to her that, hey, I'm your mother, and here's why we have to keep things secret and on the down low, because this event happened with Agent May, and this is why it's all tied together. However, I wish, this is one of the few reveals that Season 2 has been doing that I think could have marinated for at least one more episode. We also got a couple of more scenes with Reina that for the most part were the same thing as before, where Reina's talking about how much pain she's in, and yeah, it makes me feel a little bit sympathetic for the character, even though she was a bit of a villain, but still, you kind of see the pain in their eyes, but it was stuff that we have seen before. However, it did bring us two interesting things. One was seeing more of Gordon, because Gordon is a cool, neat character, a very dynamic one that, again, strikes that anti-hero tone, but I'm very interested in him and his ideals, the way he phrases things and talks to characters like Sky and Reina and his viewpoints of things, which is ironically, because there's no view. Get it? Okay, anyways. We got to see more of Gordon, and we also get a little bit of a revelation at the end of the episode, in which she, earlier in the episode, described this dream that she kept having about Sky, and to Lincoln. And when Lincoln walks in at the end, as soon as Sky's mother turned to Sky and promised her that she would get rid of her father if she didn't want to see him anymore, after this one dinner, that's where I was like, it's going to be the exact same dinner that Reina described. And sure enough, Lincoln walks in, witnesses this for himself, and comes to the conclusion, just like we do, that Reina may have a secondary power, one that can make her much more deadlier than she is now. Again, I'm not saying that the material with present day May wasn't good. It really was. It was fine. However, I felt it could have been saved for the next episode, because it ruined the illusion that every type of prequel story always tries to strive to achieve. And I felt like they were doing that with the backstory that we got in this episode, detailing the events that transformed Agent May. But then cutting to present day May kind of ruined that illusion. And that illusion is to feel like a character that you know in the end is going to come out fine, be in danger. And that's a feat all on its own to perform as a writer and as a director for either a TV show or a movie. And I felt like they were doing that, but cutting to present day May hindered it a little bit. However, we still got plenty of interesting material on the side with Sky's mother and Reina, but I feel like the main backbone of this episode that really made it one of the finest ones in this latter half of Season 2 is delving into the backstory of Melinda May, leading up to that heartbreaking scene in the ambulance that was really well acted and really fleshed out a character that, thinking back to those first few episodes of Season 1, I didn't really like all that much. I mean, I didn't hate her, but I was kind of like, man, can she crack a smile? And since then, she has come a long way. So for that, I give Melinda a high 8 out of 10. So let me know what you guys thought of this week's episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I'll see you guys later. I can't speak. That's how amazing Ming-Na Wen was in this episode. And beautiful. I need to remind you, she's 50, alright? She's like 50, 51. Look at that. Amazing. Anyways, it's probably that tea. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time.